Hi, this is Mark from Shellmark Sales again, also known as SMPostcards. So today, I got a jam-packed day for you. We got 22 cards that sold on eBay. We didn't sell any cards on Etsy or any cards on Hip Postcards. And again, our business, the percentages, we usually sell 80% of our cards on eBay, 15% on Etsy, 5% on Hip Postcards. So eBay is always the one we focus on. Also have a little exercise to go through the errors of postcards, like undivided back, linen, chrome, some key points on the history of the postcards. Then I also have another short video that we haven't published yet. It's done. I'll give you a sneak preview of that. And also, did you know there was a name for the study and the collecting of postcards? I'll let you know what that is. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, I'll go through, I'll show you the front of the card, the back of the card, a little bit about what I know about it, and what it's sold for and where it's shipped to, and then I'll cut out, you guys won't see me putting it in the envelope, etc. I'll just cut that out of the video so it goes real quick. But also, the goal of this, by doing this, I get a lot of questions about what type of postcards sell the best, what sells. By showing you 20 postcards today, it'll give you a good variety, what to look for, what's sold. I'm not saying all these cards are massive sellers, but you'll get to see all the varieties that sell. And the bottom line is, they all sell. But you got to get them online. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first card that sold is Niagara Falls, the home of shredded wheat. I've sold this card before, right there. It's a white border card. You can see the white border on there. That's the shredded wheat, I think. And that's Niagara Falls. And I think that's the factory. So it's an unposted card. Very, pretty simple card. I've sold it before. This actually sold for $4.45, and it's going to Buffalo, New York. Next card that sold, I went on this weekend, yesterday, we went on a trip. We went to a town about an hour west of us to an antique mall, a couple of them, just to walk through and just to get out and do something. It wasn't pretty busy, so it was pretty safe. But I bought about $50 worth of postcards between the two places just by looking through stacks and stuff. And whenever you buy them at the antique malls or stuff like that, you're going to pay up a little bit. And this is one of the cards that I bought. And I always buy these cards because bears sell. This is Bearland, the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It's a chrome card, baby bear, a bear bagging. I've always sold the bears at Yosemite, Yellowstone, or here. And this is a chrome card. It was posted in 1964 from Tennessee, as you can see. Pretty nice card, but that sold in less than 24 hours. And this sold for $4.45, and it's going to Knoxville, Tennessee. Now, as you'll see today, I've sold about 3 or 4 of the cards that I picked up yesterday. I've almost got my money back, just in less than 24 hours. But I probably spent about an hour total looking through postcards. Now, I didn't get a chance to look through them all, but I picked out the ones I wanted because I know what sells, what I've sold in the past. And some might sit, but you'll see I've sold a few of them already. And a couple of them I had to price up, and I got pretty good money for them. That sold is just a plain chrome card of Newport Lake Tourist Park, Arkansas. So somebody must have went there, and the title I used for this one was Postcard, Newport Lake Tourist Park, Arkansas. So I had a few keywords in there, and it must have triggered something, or someone found it. But this was posted in 1960 from, I can't really tell, South Bend, Indiana. So it's just a pretty well chrome card of a tree in a picnic area. Maybe someone went there as a kid, and we're selling memories. So this card sold for $4.45, and it is going to Bentonville, Arkansas. So it's probably somewhere around there. Next one that sold is a linen card. It's of Hotel Lakeside on Lake Erie. It's a nice, you can actually tell just by looking at it, it's a linen card. I can feel the texture. This was posted in 1946. It's got the cancellation mark and the postmark on the back. and it's got a 1 cent stamp on there, George Washington. But it's a nice looking linen card. I really like the linen cards, and they're starting to come, more popular than they were before with that. But as you notice, as I go through these, keep in mind we sold a couple of chrome cards, we sold a linen card, we sold bears, we sold a lake house. So the variety is what I'm trying to get, and the goal of this video is just to see what it is. Plus it helps me to know what to look for. When I was going through the cards yesterday, I kind of knew what to go through because I've sold so many cards that, oh yeah, pull that one out, pull that one out, pull that one out. No, that doesn't sell, that doesn't sell. So, and a couple of them I did keep for myself. So this card sold for $4, so it was an offer to a buyer. We send offers to buyers all day long, 10% offers off of $4.45 or whatever. And we probably do 40-45% of our business from offers through eBay. And this was an offer, and it is being shipped to Georgetown, Kentucky. So now the next cards that sold aren't postcards. And what I'm doing is, even though I sell postcards and SMPostcards eBay store and Etsy store and stuff, I'm starting to get into some of the other trading cards. These are Babylon 5, the sci-fi TV show that was on in the 90s, 80s. And I wanted to get more trading cards because I wanted to see how that eBay standard envelope works. So this guy actually bought 2 Babylon 5 cards, and he paid, basically, let's see what he paid for these. He paid $4.45 for each of the card. What I did is I got a set of these cards, and I broke them up and I scanned them, and I'm putting them up singly because people like to replace in their collections. They need that one card, or this one thing is what they wanted. But if you look at that, they're just, they're pretty cool little trading cards, and they're good stock. But this will go on I'll use the eBay standard envelope for this, and I'll show you how that looks afterwards. But I wanted to get as much as possible to get used to using that new feature, so when it does roll out the postcards, which I hope they do, I get in the rhythm of using that and understand it. That's the envelope, the sticker. Man, that just makes it so much easier. I don't have to put a stamp on the envelope. I don't have to copy and paste the address. I just print out the label. I'm covering up the address of the person, but as you can see, it just fits right on there. 4x6 label. I got 2 cards in there, 1 ounce, 51 cents. So I saved 4 cents on this already. So, but that's why I'm selling trading cards, is to use this process. Plus it gives people a little bit different in the store too. If I get trading people card people coming in, they might see the postcards, and vice versa. The postcard people looking in the store might see trading cards. And do I know which ones sell the best? No, I'm just putting a lot of them up. I put about 10 a day up on trading cards just to keep the store going. So, but that's the eBay standard envelope one. Card that sold is a chrome card, Scenic Beauty, Nip Springs, Rome City, Indiana. So there's a bridge, some trees, there's some ducks in the pond down there. It's just a chrome card, not posted. Nothing really special about it. Maybe someone went there. And this sold for $4.45 free shipping, and it is being shipped to San Francisco, California. Sold is Lake McDonald, west end of Glacier Park, Montana. It's a nice looking chrome card. It's unposted. I guess that's Lake McDonald there, and the glacier, the park and everything. So this card sold for $4, so it was an offer to a buyer, and it is being shipped to Springfield, Missouri. Now I'll do a couple more cards, and then I'll get into the exercise about the different errors, area of postcards, like undivided back and stuff like that. We'll go through, and I'll give you some key points about there that I know of that. Then after that, I'll give you the name, what they call postcard collecting and study of postcards, and then a short video later on. But I'll kind of break it up a little bit as I go through the cards. But remember, look at the variety of the cards that are selling and what the demand is for the cards. It's kind of interesting that linen, trade cards, that they all sell. And most of these cards, the 22 cards today, are sold to individual people. Not too many multiple orders today. So 20 different people bought 20 different cards. After I said that over single people I do have, the next order is for 2 cards. This guy must like aerial cars. So this one is a Spanish aerial card over Whirlpool, Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. And then this one is the same kind of aerial card, Spanish aerial card. So he must like the Spanish aerial card because he bought 2 of the chrome cards for Niagara Falls. Now a lot of people say Niagara Falls, nobody wants to buy them and stuff like that. I sell them all the time. Now there are certain ones I won't put up because I've got many of them up there, but there's so many different views of the Canadian side. The ice mountain, when the ice gets on ice caves for Niagara Falls when it freezes over, Made in a Mist, the nighttime one, a lot of those are mass produced, but if you price them right and they're good cards, you know, people will have been there and they want a souvenir. But they do sell. They're not fast sellers, but I've sold many Niagara Falls cards. So this order was actually 2 full price cards, $4.45 a piece plus free shipping. It's being sent to Spain. So this gentleman is in Spain, so he must have come over on holiday, as they call it, or for vacation, and saw that, or just interested to go in there when things open up. Okay, so now let's get into the little exercise I want to do. I've gotten a lot of comments, a lot of emails about the different eras of postcards. So the identification of a postcard place and time of production can be hard, if not impossible, as they are produced in a decentralized, unregulated manner. For this reason, some categorize and collect postcards by time and era. So there's different eras of postcards. Don't confuse the eras with the types of postcards. Like linen, even though there's an era for it, hold to the light postcards is a type, mechanical's a type, chrome's a type, but there's also an era for that. So they kind of cross over between the two, but don't get them confused. There's eras of postcards that are defined by dates of production, and then there's types of postcards, and I'll be doing a video later on this year about the types of postcards. So the 3 that we're not going to talk about today, the eras on this list, is pre-postcard, pioneer, and private mailing card. I'm going to leave that for a separate video. Some of those cards can get pretty pricey, and there's a little bit more history around some of those, and the history kind of goes how you want to look at it on there. So I thought I would leave those out, and they're not as common in some places, even though you can find them on there. So the ones we're going to talk about is the 5 most common, and the ones I deal with is what I really look for, even though I will pick up the other ones if I see them, but I don't actively look for them. So is the undivided back, the divided back, the white border, the linen, and the chrome. And some postcards will contain characteristics of one or the other as they roll through on there. So sometimes it's the best educated guess you can use to define a card. So the first card is undivided back. The key here is undivided. They were printed after 1901 and before 1907. U.S. postal regulation reserved the whole back of the card for the address and the post, and postage only. You couldn't write on the back of a card. To us nowadays, that doesn't make any sense, but back then that's what they decided. The messages were written on the front of the card, and I have a couple examples of the cards here. So this is an undivided back card. As you can see, there's no line in the middle, and only the address and the postage is up here, and there's the place that they can write the message. Even though they can write across here, I've seen that, but that's pretty small, and I don't think they had fine felt pens back in those days. Maybe a feather or something, quill. But the messages had to be written on the front. The first privately U.S. printed postcards that were authorized to use the word postcard. So undivided back was the first official card that you could use the word postcard on. And the other example I got of the undivided back is the Lord is my shepherd card. It's kind of a shiny card, but there it is. Just the address and a place for the postage. Now this one wasn't posted. I don't see a cancellation mark or a postmark on it or the front on there, but that's an undivided back card. There's no line. Now there is reproductions of older postcards that you have to watch out for as well. Companies do, modern cards that look like an undivided back, and you can spot those pretty well. But that's the undivided back, so 1901 to 1907, and that's something to look for. Even though things are old, don't mean they're they're expensive. So even though you find an undivided back doesn't mean it's worth $50, but some of them can be pretty expensive and they sell well. So you want to always check those out. The next one is the divided back. Now that's the key to this one, divided. So they were printed between 1907 and before 1915. It allowed for messages on the left side and address on the right side of the back. Great Britain started this in 1902, then it moved across Europe. This is considered the golden age of postcards or modern age of postcards in this era. Usually I've seen dates from 1898 to 1920. This is saying 1907. So around this time is when you hear the golden age of postcards, this is kind of what it is in this ballpark here. Don't get hung up on the dates, because each publication I've seen the dates slip a little bit here and there. But you want to get the core of the dates. You know, look in the middle. The divide is accomplished by a line on the card's back. Now I got some examples of divided backs here. So this was a pretty neat card that I actually picked up yesterday. It was posted in 1909. It's a mule car, Brownstown in Indiana. So if you notice, it's just like a little picture inset in there. There's the mule. Now this one didn't use a line. The reason I pulled this, they used a rose stem as the line in between. So, and it says space for address, space or correspondence space, and it was posted in 1909. So that's a divided back card. The line was made out of a rose. So I thought that was pretty cool. But that's a divided back, and that falls in between 1907 and 1915. Now remember, when you're looking at the age of a postcard, if the postmark is 1909, the only thing that can tell you that it was made before 1909. But it could have been made in 1901 and sat in someone's drawer and then mailed. So postmarks can be deceiving in different ways. So when you get there, it's kind of like throwing a dart at the dartboard, and you want to try to get the bullseye, but you might be off a little bit. But that's okay. You know, let the collectors decide what they want to do with it. The earliest cards had a line to the left, and let me see if I can find. Yeah, I have one of those. So the earlier divided backs, the line was kind of off-centered. Instead of right in the middle, it was moved to the left a little bit. So that's how you can kind of date them as well. This was 1912 though. So this, you know, and this is a hand-painted card. It says, "He was a jolly good fellow." You can tell with the paint on there. But that's a divided back card, 1912. But the line is off-centered a little bit. And that's your earlier divided backs, they say, on there. Some undivided back cards were used as a divided line, were hand-drawn. So I don't have an example of one of those, but if I had a divided back card here, undivided back card, I wanted to put the address on the back, people drew lines, hand-drawn the lines on there themselves. So sometimes it'll be undivided, be disguised as divided back, but you want to look and see if that was a hand-drawn line on there. So here's another example of a divided back. Island Queen, Pleasure Seekers, Coney Island. So this is the Island Queen letting people off at Coney Island in Cincinnati, Ohio. I picked this up yesterday. I think I priced this card up maybe $15 or so. It was posted in 1911, but as you can see, there's the divide in the middle, and it falls between 1907 and 1915. So that's what's cool about collecting postcards, is you can do a little Indiana Jones trying to figure things out. And again, there is a name for collecting postcards, and I'll tell you that in a minute. So the next one is probably the most elusive one, but I kind of like these. The cards are really cool. It's called the white border card. They were printed between 1913 and 1939, give or take some. Different explanations for this card. So there's different explanations of why they went to a white border card. Some things I've read and researched is the First World War limited the flow of imports to the U.S., so they didn't have the inks and stuff like that, so they wanted. They wanted to save on ink and not use it around the corners. They didn't have the lack of skilled workers in the U.S. because of the First World War. Germany, they couldn't get the cards from Germany and stuff with the skilled workers on there. The term white border remains elusive, and it is difficult to, as it's difficult to define the parameters of a white border. I've seen different ways. They don't swing as far to left or right, but there's different things you can read, but they always sell well. So here's a white border card. And some cards do have white borders, like there's a linen card I'm going to show you in a minute, does have a white border. That doesn't mean it's a white border. This is a white border card. This card of 1910. Now this card wasn't 1910. It was probably a little bit later than that, and it falls between the 1939. It is the excursion steamer Island Queen, the one I just showed you. I picked this up yesterday. And that's a white border card. And you can feel them. If it's a linen, you can feel the linen. This one is smooth, so this is a white border card. The next example of a white border card, and I always look for these kind of hand colored on there. This is from 1918, which falls between 1913 and 1939 for the white border. It's waiting for a mess at military camp. So, and there is a date on the back, 1918 on there. So that's a white border card. And this one was pricey too. I didn't pay much for it, but I ended up putting it up for more than $4.45. So now the next one is probably the most unpopular one in the day, but I like them, and they're starting to gain popularity with the postcard collectors. They're starting to be recognized, but a lot of people thought this was a cheap way of making cards, but it was because it wasn't a real photograph. It wasn't. Some were not done well, but the inks are just amazing, and that's linen. Now these cards here, even though they're said linen, they are not made out of linen. It's because the texture on them pertains to a higher red count, and they were printed between 1931 and 1959. Curtis Teich, T-E-I-C-H company in Chicago, was the first to do large-scale production of these in 1931. What he found out is the linen texture allowed for faster drying times on high-speed presses, and he could use brighter inks. They actually added a blue into the cayenne type palette to give some of these things, but you can actually feel a linen texture on there, and you can look at them, and it looks like a sheet on a bed, kind of on there. But this is an unposted linen card, and they're starting to gain popularity with the collectors more than they did in the past. I sell linens all the time, and like this is really fine detail of the Central Catholic High School in Toledo, Ohio. Look at that card. It's really nice. Even though it has a white border, it's not a white border card. This is a linen card, and I have to touch them most of the time. The linens ended in 1959. They stopped producing linens. They might have produced a couple, but the chromes became more popular. The photochrome, the chromes, as I'll show you next, is the most popular, and that's the ones that I really like and I deal in. Is they're a lower cost card because they're chromes. A lot of collectors won't deal with chromes. I enjoy them because that's from my age, my time period, pretty much on there. But I do like the older cards as well. But the chromes don't take as much resource for selling. Now, a chrome card was introduced in 1939. It was named Kodachrome. It's from the name Kodachrome, and it's printed in natural color from photography. Has a shiny surface, and it's when I get into the types of cards, but this is what they call the chrome era from 1939 to present. You'll see most cards done this way. When I get into the type of cards, I'll get into a little more detail about it, but that's a chrome card. Everybody that's doing postcards pretty well know what a chrome card is, but there were some older chrome cards too that you want to kind of look at. Now, there is a difference, and when I get into the type of postcards, you see this chrome card and this chrome card. Well, this chrome card has what they call rounded corner. They're rounded corners. This one is not rounded. So as you see different things, that's a rounded corner. Now, does it mean it's worth more? No, not really, that I see. They both sell, but that's a chrome card. They have a shiny surface. They're going to be from 1939 to present. So that's basically the era of postcards. The undivided back 1901 to 1907, divided back 1907 to 1915, white border 1915 to 1930, and linen 1930 to 1945, and chrome 1939 to present. The really cool thing is, as you ramp up the learning curve on postcards, there is a learning curve. This little chart here can help you do that. Where can you look and see? Help you when you list on eBay. When you do the drop down on eBay on your listing page, it has dates like this in there for you to pick. Now, I did talk to one gentleman. He was an older postcard collector for like 50 some years. He basically said, if you don't know what it is, leave it up to the collector who's buying it. He said, if you're not for sure if it's an RPPC, you're not for sure if it's undivided back or divided back, leave it blank. They'll understand, you know. But now for pricing it, you want to know what they are. But are you going to be exact on every card? Probably not. So, but as you learn, you know, I take a lot of cards and I'll ask people, what is this? And then they tell me what it is. Maybe I'm right 99% of the time, or maybe I was off. I didn't see something that they saw. So that's the fun of there. Now, how did they come up with this? Remember I told you there's a name for postcard collecting. The name is Deltiology. So right here, that was coined by Randall Rhodes of Ohio in the 1940s. The term meant to add dignity to postcard collecting, not just being a hobby. It's not really internationally accepted term. A lot of collectors they don't even know of this name. Your diehard ones, your one that's been doing it for a while, know of this probably. But a lot of the current collectors and stuff might not use it every day because it kind of, Deltaology doesn't really roll off the tongue to me. But there's other terms when collecting, cartology, cartophilophilist. I put them up here, maybe I didn't say that one right. But Deltaology, in the tags on Etsy, I actually have that tag on my listing is Deltaology, so maybe someone's looking it up. But that's the study of postcards does have a name, Deltaology. So you're a Deltaologist if you're doing postcards. Finish up the cards that we have that's sold so you can see a good variety. Now this is the Howells Ed Rockland, Maine. Right there. It's an older card. I picked this card up yesterday. So that's another card that's sold. It is a divided back like I just talked about. There's the line. It was posted in 1914. So that falls right in the range. But it's, when I sold it, I was like, what is this? Owl's Head. What is that? So that was another card that I have. This card sold for $4.45 and it is being shipped to Lexington, Kentucky. The next card that I sold is Flagler Street looking west, Miami, Florida. As you can tell, you really don't have to touch this one, but I can feel the rag count on it. That's a linen card, just like I talked about. The bright colors, there's the blue. I can just feel it on there. It's a really solid stock card. The linen cards were really done, you know, you can feel the texture and the solidness of it. But this was Flagler Street, and this actually sold for $4.45. And it's being mailed to Australia. That sold is Sir Francis Drake Hotel in San Francisco, California. It's a chrome card. It's a desk card. You know, probably got it at the desk on there. But hotels do sell. People have stayed there, and they probably wanted a card from it. This actually sold for $4.45 free shipping, and it's going to Cottonwood, Arizona. Okay, so this card that sold, you would think just by looking at it, it looks international. It's not. It's Tripoli Temple in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a chrome card. It's located in Wisconsin Avenue. Some kind of the architecture, but that's what that card is. It's a chrome card. It's sold for $4.45 free shipping, and it's being sent to Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's sold is of the Colonel's Chair, a well-known landmark in the Catskill Mountains and New York. So it's a chrome card, unposted, but I guess that's the Colonel's chair right there. So in just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and do the short video, talk about the courthouse in Kankakee, and do that short video to make that up. I just wanted to get through some of these cards real quick. But this card sold for $4.45 full price, free shipping, and it's being sent to Hunter, New York. Card. When I got this one, I'm sitting there, okay, I'm not for sure if this is going to sell. There's got to be millions of these cards out here. This is the American Revolution Bicentennial card. It just looks so production centennial cards. They probably just mass produced these, but it did sell. So you got George Washington, you got Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin going from this side over here. And 1776, 1976. I remember the bicentennial. I remember getting the coins and stuff. This actually sold for full price, free shipping, and it's going to Dunwoody, Georgia. Now this card that I picked up kind of looks like an RPPC, but it's not. It's a chrome card, but it's from Midwest Motel, US 66, Mitchell, Illinois. So it's a motel out there, and I picked this card up yesterday. I paid less than $1 for it. And it was part of the trip that we did yesterday. So that's about 4 cards already from yesterday that I was able to pick out. So it makes you feel good when you pick out cards and they sell less than 24 hours. You may be doing something right. Just reinforces that you kind of know what you're doing. But this card sold for $5.45. I had to price up the cards I bought yesterday, pass that on, because I pay a little bit more when I pick them up at antique malls than I do when I buy big lots of stuff. So this sold for $5.45. And it's going to Maryville, Illinois. So I think that's by Mitchell. But that's a nice little older postcard. It's posted 1960s, 1950s. I can't really tell. But it's got a 2-cent stamp on it. So very nice card. Cards. And then I'll show you the little short video on the courthouse. But this next card that sold, this was a lot of about 50 or 60, I don't know, I forgot how many I actually bought, of Navy ships. And they're really good condition cards, and I put them, it took me about 2 or 3 days to put them all up and scan them. But this is of the USS Cochrane DDG-21 Guided Missile Destroyer. So all of these kind of look like that. The guy must have collected them, but it has the name of the boat, everything on there like that. Really nice chrome cards, and I've pretty well got my money back on these already. Probably about maybe 70 of these I bought, but I paid up a little bit on it because it was a gentleman wanted to sell them, but I didn't have any Navy boats really in my collection to sell, so I thought I would try, and they are selling. So this sold for $4.45, and it's going to Portland, Oregon. I'm going to do this card, and then I'll go ahead and talk about the short video. But this is the best sell of the day on the cards that I bought yesterday. Now, I do not know anything about this town. I know nothing about this factory or anything about this card. I was just looking through a stack of cards in an antique mall in a booth, and I picked out this card, and I didn't even do any research on it. I just knew that there was something special about this card, and I priced it at $11.45. More than the $4.45 standard that I do, because I just thought it was pretty cool. This is the Greenman's Furniture Factory in Seymour, Indiana. It's a divided back card posted in 1910. You can see the smoke coming out. It's got the factory. So I just felt that this was a very nice card, and it's real good condition. The corners and everything are good, but I just thought the smoke and stuff like that, the detail that they put on this card, someone had to work there. So they paid $11.45, free shipping, and it's going to North Vernon, Indiana. So someone probably worked there that lives in North Vernon. And that, when I put the title on this one, I put it as Postcard, Greenman's Furniture Factory, Seymour, Indiana. The exact same thing that's right at the top up here, and that probably triggered someone's search. So, just to tell you, I paid less than $1 for that card. So my trip is starting to pay off yesterday. Let's go ahead and break this up. There's only 4 cards left to go through, but as you see, there's a good variety of stuff. And I wanted to do another short video during these videos of our shorts that we're publishing. And this one is of the Kankakee County Courthouse. We actually own all the cards that we do short videos for. This is the Kankakee Courthouse. I've been there a few times. for good reasons, and that was jury duty. I was actually ahead of the jurors on the last one I was on, but that's the card. It's this is a Lenin card, you know, from the 1930s. So it's right in the middle of town for the county. It's a big card. Parking is horrible there, but the Masonic temple that I showed you yesterday is just to the east of that, and the Elks Lodge one that I have short video is just to the west of that, right across the street from each other on there. And there's a couple churches down the way, and the armory is just right around the center of town. So let's go ahead and do that, but there's a little bit behind the scenes of history of what the courthouse is. So here's the video for that. It's only 30 seconds or so, so give it a watch. Hope you enjoyed that video. We got one scheduled every Tuesday. We're starting to get them done, and we just bought a whole bunch more cards for the area, and our radius is getting farther and farther out because we're not finding postcards. But one of the antique malls I went to yesterday actually had a box, and it was sorted by town. So I picked out like 5 cards of the local area around here. We got some Florida ones that we're going to be going. We think we're going to be traveling out west. So, but we have a lot of them scheduled. But every week I'll try to give you a sneak preview and behind the scenes of these. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up these 4 cards and see how these did. So the next one is the banquet room of the Sun Tavern in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Now, I've been up and down about Williamsburg, Fredericksburg, because I just got a lot of cards from those 2 historic places. But you know what? They all sell. Mount Vernon sells. Monticello sells. The Washington Tower. But this is the banquet hall. It's a chrome card. It's probably mass-produced souvenir card from when you're being there. This sold for $4.45 full price, and it's being shipped to Arlington, Virginia. And on all my videos, I've told you Disney sells. So both of these cards are going to the same person. This is the submarine ride at Disneyland in California. Submarine Voyage, they call it. It's a chrome card, not posted. And the next one is a peaceful Indian village in Disneyland in California, not posted. Oh, it is. This one is posted in 1963. So that's the card there. But Disney sells. One of them sold, the submarine sold for $4. I think I got a whole bunch of submarines for a good price, so I didn't have to price that up. But the peaceful Indian village I just picked up yesterday. So that's another card out of the $50 worth of postcards I bought. I sold less than 24 hours. So that was the piece. I picked that one out right away, and I sold that one for $6.71. It was probably an offer to a buyer, but I got a couple extra dollars because I had to pay up a little bit for that card. Forgot a little over $1 I think I paid for the card. So, but I can't pass up a Disney card. So these total for this order was $10.71, and they're being shipped to Springfield, Oregon. So this is the last card that I'll go over today. Now this is another card that I picked up yesterday and sold within less than 24 hours. I think it's about half a dozen cards now out of the ones I bought. But this, just because it's old doesn't mean it's worth a lot of money. And I didn't find a lot of stuff on this one, but this is undivided back. So these are ones that I'll research a little bit for. It's undivided since there's no line, just like I talked about before. There's the postage and there's the mailing address, and there's the writing on the front. But it's of Shops of Fairbanks, Morse, Beloit, Wisconsin. And you can see the colors in there. It's got the smoke in there and stuff like that. I priced this card at, I think, about $6. It sold for $5.80, so it was an offer to a buyer. And it's going to Waldo, Wisconsin. But that just goes to show you today of all the different varieties that sell, just, you know, in the areas that we sell. I don't do a lot of undivided backs, but like I said, if I see them, I'll pick them up, but I don't actively search for them. I'm pretty well undivided back, white border, you know, linen, chrome type things. But as you notice, I sold all different things to all different people across the globe. Australia, Spain. So everything sells. You just got to get it online, get the right price it to sell, get your money back to go buy some more, put some money in your pocket to pay the expenses, and some for your time. And it can be lucrative on some days. Now, like, we didn't sell anything on Etsy today or sell anything on Hip, but overall, for the average for the month, we'll end up selling to pay all the bills for that and put some money to buy some equipment and postcards. But that's all I have for today. Make sure you check out our other videos. I'll be doing some other videos on the types of postcards in the future. People have been asking that. If you want me to go out and research anything or come up with some other ideas, just drop me a comment. I got a listing video in the works and a bunch of short videos, so you can watch those. You can watch all the ones we got up there for under 4 minutes right now, but we're putting one up every week. Tuesdays we're putting the shorts. Friday, Saturday, or Sunday we're putting a longer one up like this one for people as they list. But we appreciate you watching, and we'll hope to catch you on the next one.